You're listening to Kate Palmer from sparkletart.com.
Today I'm taking you on a quick tour of my craft room. This is where I started, 14 years ago. Then it looked like this. Then it grew a little and it started to look like this. I got a few more bookshelves and it started to grow again. I had lots of embellishments and lots of papers. I had lots of everything and it started to look like this. Then I had trouble finding a clean space on my desk. I started to build up and it was looking like this. I had used every little space and then there were piles and piles on the piles and then piles on the floor. So I spent about 3 months last year cleaning up my craft room and now it looks like this. That 3 months was really well spent. I've reorganized everything and I took a really good critical look at myself and how I work. I love to create, I hate to clean up. So this is all really easy and also easy to put away. Geared for the lazy crafter. That's me. So as you can see, it's just a little space between a walkway. The double doors at the end are the main doors into my bedroom. So this whole section is a walkway. It needs to remain clear. So I've got both sides of the walkway. So this section is where I create. If you look to the right side here, I've got a light that I can just move out of the way. It's a daylight lamp. I have things that I don't access very often. So some of my older punches and chipboard shapes and things in the corner here in some drawers. I've then built a couple of custom, I suppose it's a bit like a craft hutch. Previously I had all of my stamps stacked at the back of my desk. But I realised that I don't actually use every single stamp every time I sit at my desk. So I've put the things on here that I do use all the time, or at least more frequently than every stamp I own. The desk's quite deep, so it was perfect to put a set of makeshift shelves at the back and store all of my stash on. My whole desk is set up geared around being a lazy crafter. Every single thing on here is within arm's reach. I don't need to get up out of my chair to grab things or put them away. I'm right-handed, so on the right-hand side I've got all of my pens and my keyboard and my stickles. This is so I can just grab something as I'm crafting and keep going. And my Copics. Now these are all lined up the wall and I've done it so that the top shelf, again, is reachable. I don't even have to get up from my desk. I'm sitting down, I can just reach up here and grab what I'm after. Now if you spin around to the front here, I've got my distress inks, again, all within easy reach, scissors and all the stuff I need right to hand here, some tags to work on, my Copic colour journal back here, and then back here I've got some of my paper pack. On this side here I've got all my stencils split into 6x6, 8x8, and then some of the larger 12x12s at the back here. On this side of my desk, headphones of course so I don't annoy my husband, my cuddle bug, and I've got all of the cardstock I use quite regularly. I've got my inks, my Neo colours, and a few of my smaller tins of paint in these little bamboo containers. Again, these are really easy to move around. They're also really easy to clean things up and get things out, which is, I've found, one of the keys to keeping my room clean. Up above those, I've got another one of those big lights. I have a real lighting issue in my room, so those are really necessary. I've got some more of the plastic drawers, and you can see I've got decorations in each corner of my room, just to make it a bit prettier, because it can't just be practical for me, it has to be pretty as well, otherwise I don't want to be in here. Next to me over here, if I just roll across, is a big bookshelf with things I don't use all that often, which is why I've put it in the corner, that it's a bit more difficult to get to. Now when you spin around here, I have a little craft trolley. Now on there is my scanner and my vagabond. And in keeping with the same theme, because this is further away from my desk, the things in here are things I don't use as often. So some of my larger dies, a few odds and ends, my cinch, bird nests. I know, what was I thinking? I'm sure I'll use them, but I don't know what for. Again, because it's further away from my desk, it's got stuff I don't use as much. Now if you look up the wall here, I've just got a little bit of decoration, and this is so that it keeps these things off my bookshelves, because what I tend to do is put things in front of other stuff and then have to move 50 million things to get to whatever's behind it. So I've just got a couple of little shadow boxes. Now if you look over to the end of the room here, these both fit behind the doors. So these doors open, and this is the main walkway through to my bedroom. I've got all of my gorgeous ribbons hanging up on the ribbon rings, and then I've got my Lindy's in these wonderful little wall units. And if you look very carefully, when I open the door, you'll notice that they're just the right size for the door to close, and these fit perfectly behind the door. So this has been fantastic, and it's allowed me a lot of extra space. So I've got some more of those shadow boxes on this side of the room, not as many over here, and again just a place to show off some of my art and my little sort of knick-knacky things. Now on this side of the room it's all bookshelves, and what I've done is I've bought bookshelves that have movable shelving, so you can reconfigure them sort of as you need to. Up on the top here I've got one of these wonderful little craft spinners, and it's got all of my purchased flowers in there. Now I've been collecting these for years so there's quite a few in here, but that just fits perfectly, and it means I can spin them around and grab the colour I'm after. Up here I've got stamps split into folders, and I've just got little labels on the folders, so it makes it really easy to figure out what's where. Makes it very easy to find, and they're all on just plastic panels. Down here I keep my embellishments and journaling bits and bobs. Again, just sort of one thing to each particular drawer with a little label on there just so I can find things. I've got all of the ink pads that I use occasionally down here. These are ones that I don't use as often as the Distress. Drawers full of little H2Os, pots of twinkly goodness, and of course I've got even more pots of the Magicals from Lindy's Stamp Gang, even more twinkly goodness. Down this side I've got all of my papers in 12 by 12 little folders like this, all sorted by colour. I've got all my alphabet embellishments together, and accents, words and phrases, and some papers from the Paper Temptress. And again, they're just all in these A4 binders. Down here I've got a wonderful craft cube, and I've got all these little pull-out drawers, and this is where I keep my flowers. So I've got more ink pads down here, and here I've got my magazines, some stamped images ready to go, and my wonderful craft books that I absolutely love. These are the ones I wouldn't be without, and I have 2 shelves of those, and they're fantastic. I've got some wonderful books here that are really inspiring whenever your mojo is low. And moving on to the last bookshelf. Up here I have heat tools and embossing tools, a couple of videos that I really enjoy, some folders with cards that people have sent me and things I've created. And if you move down, I've got a couple of folders with dilution stamps, Tim Holtz stamps, and then I've used these wonderful Tim Holtz binders here to put my dies in. I've got these absolutely fantastic little folios from Craftmates, and they're making them again. They're slightly bigger, and these are great for embellishments. Lastly, I've got all my La La stamps and dies together. I've painted my folders to make them look a little bit sexier and to distinguish one from another. I have another shelf of unmounted stamps. These are the ones on cling film. And then down here, these are all my actual mounted stamps. So I've just got them all in little drawers like this. They might be listed by company, or they might be listed by type. Down here I've got some of my punches and spare ribbons. I don't have a lot of punches, so this is pretty easy for me to keep. The last bit of my craft room is the stuff under my desk. Basically this is stuff that I'd like close to hand, but isn't necessarily needed on top of the desk. It's my extra paints or different brands, inks and things I don't use quite as often, sparkly mediums, some of my brighter distress paints and my face painting acrylics, my tool drawer. These 2 slide out drawers are a great idea. They're on little wheels, and it just makes use of the space underneath that drawer. So I'll just leave you with the view from my chair here, and this is what I see when I look around my craft room. I know I'm incredibly lucky. I've actually been crafting for almost 14 years now, so over that time I've collected a fair bit of stuff, but I've managed to only keep the things that I'm actually currently using. I hope you've enjoyed the tour of my craft room, and that maybe you've grabbed a few ideas that you can use in your own craft space. So have a great week, and if anybody would like a bit of a closer look at what's on my desk, there's another video coming up showing you just that. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye.